Throughout history, the seas have claimed many ships and vessels, often under tragic and dramatic circumstances. These shipwrecks have become synonymous with adventure, mystery, and disaster. From ancient times to modern-day accidents, shipwrecks remind us of the ocean's power and the fragility of human life. Here, we'll delve into some of the most famous shipwrecks in history and the stories that surround them. Number 1. The RMS Titanic, 1912. No discussion of famous shipwrecks would be complete without mentioning the RMS Titanic, perhaps the most infamous shipwreck in modern history. The Titanic, a British passenger liner, was touted as the largest and most luxurious ship of its time. It was also famously labeled unsinkable, a claim that would tragically be proven wrong on its maiden voyage. On April 14, 1912, the Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic Ocean and sank in the early hours of April 15. Of the 2,240 passengers and crew aboard, more than 1,500 lost their lives. The sinking of the Titanic led to changes in maritime regulations, particularly with regard to lifeboat requirements and the establishment of the International Ice Patrol to monitor iceberg threats in the North Atlantic. The ship's wreckage was discovered in 1985, lying more than 12,000 feet beneath the ocean's surface, preserving the haunting remains of this maritime disaster. Number 2. The SS Andrea Doria, 1956. Another famous shipwreck that grabbed headlines was the sinking of the Italian luxury liner SS Andrea Doria. In 1956, the Andrea Doria collided with the Swedish-American liner MS Stockholm off the coast of Nantucket, Massachusetts, due to poor visibility and radar misjudgments. The collision ripped a large hole in the Andrea Doria's side, causing it to list severely. Despite heroic rescue efforts that saved over 1,600 passengers and crew, 46 people perished. The wreck of the Andrea Doria has since become a popular but dangerous site for deep-sea divers. The ship, which lies over 200 feet beneath the ocean surface, is rapidly deteriorating and has claimed the lives of numerous divers attempting to explore it. Known as the Mount Everest of diving, its dangerous location and the currents around it make it a highly challenging wreck to navigate. Number 3. The Mary Rose, 1545. One of the most significant shipwrecks from the Tudor period is that of the Mary Rose, a warship of the English Tudor Navy of King Henry VIII. The Mary Rose sank in 1545 during a naval battle with the French in the Solent, a strait north of the Isle of Wight. The exact reasons for her sinking are still debated. Some suggest it was due to a sudden gust of wind or an overloaded crew. For centuries, the Mary Rose lay submerged until it was discovered and raised in 1982. Its remains, along with thousands of artifacts, have provided an extraordinary insight into Tudor-era naval warfare, shipbuilding, and everyday life at sea. Today, the Mary Rose and its artifacts are housed in a museum in Portsmouth, England, attracting millions of visitors eager to learn more about this fascinating piece of maritime history. Number 4. The Batavia, 1629. In 1629, the Dutch merchant ship Batavia, part of the Dutch East India Company, was wrecked off the coast of Western Australia on its maiden voyage. After the wreck, the survivors, including women and children, found themselves stranded on a desolate island. What followed was a horrific tale of mutiny, murder, and madness. The ship's commander, Francisco Pelsaert, took a small boat to search for help, leaving behind a group of mutineers led by a man named Geronimus Cornelis. Over the next few weeks, Cornelis and his followers murdered over 100 men, women, and children, creating a reign of terror. Pelsaert eventually returned with help, and the mutineers were captured and executed. The Batavia's wreck was rediscovered in the 1960s, and many artifacts from the ship can now be seen in museums in Australia and the Netherlands. Number 5. The USS Arizona, 1941. One of the most poignant shipwrecks in U.S. history is that of the USS Arizona, which was sunk during the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. The battleship was hit by multiple bombs, causing a massive explosion that killed 1,177 crew members. The destruction of the USS Arizona became a symbol of the tragedy and heroism of that day, which brought the United States into World War II. Today, the wreck of the USS Arizona rests at the bottom of Pearl Harbor, where it remains a war grave and memorial. The USS Arizona Memorial, built above the sunken ship, is visited by millions of people each year who come to pay their respects to the sailors who lost their lives in the attack. Number 6. The RMS Lucitania, 1915. The sinking of the RMS Lucitania during World War I remains one of the most controversial maritime disasters in history. The British ocean liner was torpedoed by a German U-boat on May 7, 1915, while en route from New York to Liverpool. The attack resulted in the deaths of 1,198 passengers and crew, including 128 Americans. The sinking of the Lusitania sparked outrage and shifted public opinion in many countries, especially in the United States. Though the U.S. did not immediately enter the war, the Lusitania disaster contributed to the growing tension between the U.S. and Germany. The ship's wreckage lies off the coast of Ireland and has been explored by divers and researchers who continue to study the circumstances surrounding its tragic end. Number 7. The Vasa, 1628. The Swedish warship. Vasa is notable not only for its sinking but also for its remarkable preservation. The Vasa sank just minutes into its maiden voyage in 1628, toppling over in Stockholm harbor due to design flaws that made the ship too top-heavy. All attempts to salvage the ship at the time failed, and it lay submerged in mud for over 300 years. In 1961, the Vasa was raised from the seabed in an extraordinary salvage operation. Since then, it has been restored and is now housed in the Vasa Museum in Stockholm. The ship, along with the thousands of artifacts recovered with it, offers an unprecedented glimpse into 17th-century Swedish naval life and craftsmanship. Number 8. The WAA Galley, 1717. The WAA Galley is famous for being the only authenticated pirate shipwreck ever discovered. The ship, captained by the notorious pirate Samuel Black Sam Bellamy, was a former slave ship that Bellamy had captured. In 1717, the WAA was caught in a violent storm off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and sank with vast amounts of treasure on board. The wreck of the WAA was discovered in 1984 by marine archaeologist Barry Clifford, and it has since yielded thousands of artifacts, including cannons, coins, and other pirate treasure. The discovery of the WAA confirmed many long-held legends about pirate ships and their operations during the golden age of piracy. Number 9. The Edmund Fitzgerald, 1975. One of the most famous modern shipwrecks in North America is that of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, which sank in Lake Superior on November 10, 1975. The Edmund Fitzgerald was an American freighter, and at the time of its sinking it was one of the largest ships on the Great Lakes. The exact cause of the sinking remains a mystery. The ship went down during a severe storm, and all 29 crew members were lost. The tragedy inspired Canadian singer Gordon Lightfoot's hit song, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and the wreck continues to be a subject of fascination and speculation. The ship's remains rest at the bottom of Lake Superior, and diving expeditions to the wreck have yielded important clues, though no definitive answers. Number 10. The Costa Concordia, 2012. One of the most recent shipwrecks to make global headlines was the sinking of the Costa Concordia. In 2012. The Italian cruise ship ran aground off the coast of Isola del Giglio, Italy, after striking an underwater rock. The ship capsized, and 32 people lost their lives in the disaster. The captain of the Costa Concordia, Francesco Schettino, was later convicted of manslaughter and abandoning ship, a charge that was particularly damning, given that many passengers were left to fend for themselves during the evacuation. The Costa Concordia was one of the largest passenger ships ever wrecked, and its dramatic capsizing was followed by a massive salvage operation to remove the ship from the coastline. Shipwrecks have captured human imagination for centuries, not just because of the dramatic loss of life and property, but also due to the enduring mysteries they often represent. These wrecks are more than just sunken ships. They are time capsules, preserving moments in history that allow future generations to explore, learn, and remember. From the luxurious Titanic to the pirate WAA Galley, each shipwreck tells its own story, a reminder of the dangers of the sea and the resilience of those who sail it.